Welcome, welcome. Thanks so much for clicking on the video. Cosmos Joe here, and you're about to watch an educational video about interchain security or shared security. This is a model of shared security that takes place in the Cosmos ecosystem, and there's no better person to explain it than Jack Zampolin, which is who I interview in this video. Just as a disclaimer, this is sponsored content by the Atom Accelerator DAO, and the purpose is to shine a spotlight on Cosmos, the Atom token, and highlight all of the developments that are happening. You'll get to know exactly what interchain security involves, who benefits from it, and also some of the improvements that will be made in the future, as this is still a very new, interesting model. Enjoy the video. Listen, I'm sure in your line of work,
start it off.
I'm sure in your line of work there are lots of awkward silences. So,
yes, yeah. Sometimes it's people just doing the wrong thing. But yeah.
All right, so let's.
Joe, we're here.
We're here. Let's start this off for people that are maybe they bought Atom tokens on an exchange, and then they're like, oh, maybe I should Google what Cosmos is in the first place. And as they're searching for information about Cosmos and Atom, they keep seeing interchain security or shared security, something like that. So, Jack, you'll help me break this down for new people without getting too far into the weeds for this video. Maybe later on we could do another one where it's more of a technical deep dive. But this Cosmos and security, interchain security specifically, we'll try to get this,
break it down.
Yeah,
we're gonna break it down. We're gonna get it. Yeah, let's go.
And why don't you just quick introduce yourself and Strangelove for people that maybe have seen you on Twitter but not actually in the flesh on YouTube.
Yeah. Hey, my name's Jack Zampolin. I'm the CEO at Strangelove. I was originally the product manager on the Cosmos Hub, the Cosmos SDK, and IBC, and I've been doing Cosmos-y stuff for quite a while. And we work with a number of different Cosmos chains and protocols, shipping new features with a focus around improving user experience at the lower layers. It's with all these new folks coming in, another wave of people telling us our UX is terrible, which is always fun.
I mean, I think it's getting better, and I still think we're ahead of a lot of ecosystems. But with Cosmos, there's just a lot to take in, because Cosmos is not just one chain. Now we have interchain security, which was maybe the biggest development in 2023 that actually, became a reality. It was talked about for a while. So, and that's interchain security, shared security. Why don't we start with just some simple background, and then I'll get into some questions that maybe a new person would have. And for the background, just a newcomer, what's the easiest way to understand, or what do they need to know about interchain security?
So, I mean, how much do you realistically need to know about it as an investor? Not a whole ton. I think that broadly, Cosmos is a response to the discussion around scaling blockchains that started during the 2013 Bitcoin scaling wars. And interchain security is one method for scaling blockchains that allows that individual blockchain to get larger and larger and capture more and more value. And in the market today, interchain security is a competitive product that's launching more and more products that are able to drive value to the Cosmos Hub. And that's why investors should care about it.
Got it. Okay. And for the longest time, people were questioning, what does Cosmos do? What does Atom do? But now it seems like Cosmos is going to be, at least for the time being, the product, if you want to call it, from a token holder standpoint. It might not be an obvious product, but security is the product. And you think Cosmos is an adequate chain to provide security for others?
Well, I mean, so I think when people talk about Cosmos, what are the tokens people are most excited about right now? It's like Injective and Celestia and Puppy and Chihuahua. And that points to the sort of multiplicity of Cosmos itself. So, you know, there's the broader interchain network that is all of the different IBC connected chains. And then there's the Cosmos Hub. So when we're talking about interchain security, we're talking specifically about the Cosmos Hub and the scaling of the Cosmos Hub. When we're talking about Cosmos more broadly, we're talking about all of the different products and services that are available via IBC. So just want to disambiguate that at the beginning.
Okay, no, that's perfect actually. So then let me start with some yes or no questions. We won't get too much into the broader ecosystem. I'll keep the questions focused on the hub, Cosmos Hub. Uh, First, yes or no question for consumer chains. Those are the chains that are using Cosmos for security. Do they still require their own token in all cases, like a typical layer one proof of stake chain?
Nope, they don't. And this is one of the huge benefits of replicated security is that it doesn't require a staking chain.
Okay.
And this is the reason why you do a staking coin is so that you have economic security on the chain, and you get that through replicated security instead of through a staking token. So it eliminates the need for a token, which is actually kind of nice. You don't want to launch a token in all cases.
Right. All right. That actually leads perfect into the next question. Can the consumer chains, with or without a token, have their own governance separate from the Cosmos Hub's governance?
Yeah, absolutely. Go check out Lido governance. That is a great example of a chain doing that.
Got it. Okay. And then last yes or no question. Can any chain, either new or existing, that's built with the Cosmos tech, Cosmos SDK, can any chain like that become a consumer chain?
Absolutely. We've seen it done with Stride. Noble's going to make the transition at some point this next year. It's a key value prop for chains that are paying a lot of money for validator sets and they want to sort of change that dynamic.
So you mentioned that chains don't always require a token. This might be actually an advantage in some cases. How difficult is it, or how easy is it then to incorporate the Atom token into their own chain dynamics or the apps built on the chain? Can they use the
Yeah,
Atom token as their own token if they don't have one or don't need one?
yeah, trivially. And in fact, it's actually really easy to use any IBC token across that IBC network. And the Cosmos SDK has a lot of places that allows you to do that, whether it's for fees or, on Stargaze, you can list NFT markets in multiple different denominations. Those kinds of things, all very doable. So yes, you can absolutely use Atom for whatever you'd like to.
Off the top of your head, we already talked about one advantage of becoming a consumer chain versus being a completely independent chain with your own validator set. Any top three advantages, let's say, in your opinion, to becoming a consumer chain?
Good question. You don't have to launch a token, which is a big one. You get access to a large market, which is the Atom holders and this
Right.
whole Atom market, and you gain a preferential place in that market. I think if you look at Stride and liquid staking, like that was a huge part of why they wanted to become a consumer chain was to align more closely with Atom. You hear a lot of people talking about alignment in the Ethereum community. One way to show alignment with the Atom community is to join Interchain Security.
How well do you think the hub can handle an increase in the number of consumer chains? Will the hub have to become a little bit more selective over time, or just do you think as things progress, there'll be some updates and changes that will accommodate, 5, 10, 20, 50 chains if that's possible?
There are some changes that are coming down the pipe to help enable coordination amongst larger number of chains, i.e., validators. Again, this is where like it's easy to start talking tech and lose
Right.
the thread here for retail. But the fundamental issue right now is the way that interchain security is designed in its current form, and we're calling it V1. It is expensive to add new chains. Every validator has to have copies of the data. Future versions of Interchain Security will obviate the need for every validator to hold full copies of the data, and that will allow better scalability. So right now, we need to be a little choosy, and that is going to be lessened over time. But I do think that the Cosmos Hub should be choosy. We shouldn't just like go full launch pad and focus on launching as many chains as possible. We should focus on high value applications that the Cosmos Hub is able to use its brand to drive value to. And I think that the number of those right now is relatively small and fits in well with the current interchain security model.
So I'm a user. I have my Atom tokens. Let's say there are, I don't know, 5 consumer chains taking advantage of interchain security in the next year or two. How easy will it be from the end user's perspective to just move around, maybe without realizing so much that you are using different blockchains, assuming, Atom is the default gas token on all these chains and there are different apps that I want to use.
I mean, that's the way it is today. It's extremely easy to move between different chains. And I think that this idea of chain abstraction is something that we've been preaching in the IBC world for a very, very long time. People don't care. Like, your audience doesn't care about which underlying technology they're using. They don't
Mhm.
care about esoteric arguments about how many angels you can fit on the head of the pin. I'm sorry, accounts you can fit in a particular blockchain. Uh, what they care about is whether or not numbers going to go up and whether or not there's lasting value there. And that is way more important. um, and they want to use the applications that are built on top of these things. And what IBC enables is for those applications to scale as much as they want to. And this is why we started working on IBC, and it's why the market is finally coming around to this vision, because it does offer the only truly scalable substrate for global commerce that we've ever seen, because it's architected exactly the same way the World Wide Web, and we've seen how that rolled out. So with that in mind, things like IBC.fund, Skip, um, Stride, all of these different products, and I'm missing a bunch of them that are offering these multi-chain experiences. Um, those are going to be the ways that people interact with this broader ecosystem, and they're going to care less and less about what chain they're on. And I think in a year from now, like, people aren't going to care. It's only going to be application developers.
No, I agree. Well said. Most of my audience, they're end users or potential end users, and they're just looking for a convenient ecosystem to use apps that are interesting to them, that are useful to them. But how about
Yep.
builders? How about builders? Let's just say this is the last question. I think we hit pretty much everything. Hopefully, everyone watching this got the basics of what interchain security looks like and the benefits. Let's say I'm a developer and I have a great idea for a new application, and I'm not sure if I want to launch as my own blockchain in Cosmos with my own validator set versus launching just as an application on an existing chain or coming to the hub and launching as a consumer chain without my own validator set. What do you think are one or two main deciding factors that would, as a builder, have to be taken into consideration before making that final call?
That's a great question. I think that the way that I look at this is from a Web 2 perspective. If you look at the Web 2 world, you can go rack your own servers at your own data center, where you lay your own fiber, all the way to paying Amazon for their functions as a service platform, where all you do is write JavaScript and the whole thing is taken care of for you. And there is every option in between those. One of those options is a lot more sovereignty and it's a lot higher cost. The other option is you're giving up all of your sovereignty and you're taking on a lot of platform risk for the lowest possible cost. And both of those metrics, if you think about that in a grid, there's a huge possibility space there. what we've had in blockchains for a long time is the Cosmos solution, where you go rack your own servers. And we've also had the Ethereum solution, where you go deploy a smart contract. The reality of this situation is that each application has a different set of needs, and they're going to want somewhere on that continuum, and they're going to want to shift along that continuum. What we've tried to do in Cosmos is recognize this as a continuum and do our best to build out a platform that allows the users, i.e. the developers, to pick what's best for them in their application along that continuum. And I think that we do have the best platform in the world for that in terms of transitioning. And we talked earlier in the show about how you can transition from being a standalone app chain to a shared security app chain. And, that's a step that's like a different part of that trade-off space that we're talking about here. And, so there's no one answer for application developers at the end of the day. It's what's ever right for your app. But I think that Cosmos has a broader area of this trade-off space and the ability to move within that trade-off space much easier than any other ecosystem. And I think that's why you should choose Cosmos.
Cool. No, I appreciate it. Nice having you on again. It's the second time we got to talk like this. People are definitely going to take something away from this conversation. Interchain security. I think people need to know about it. Really appreciate it. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure. How you doing, man?